Hi guys, I hope you had a good weekend. Today we are going to be talking about variables and expressions. A lot of this is probably going to be review, and these notes should go pretty quickly. So the first thing I'm going to do is open up my ISN to the table of contents, and I'm on page 7. This will be variables and expressions. Okay, so go ahead and fill in your table of contents. And then on your notes today, so typically I like to give you guys notes that look like this. It's one page. And then once we're finished, you'll cut it down the middle and glue one on the left and one on the right. So before I cut it though, I'm just gonna fold mine in half to make it easier to write so it fits in the video screen. All right, so we're talking about variables and expressions today. The first thing that is written on here is algebra tiles. Not sure if you've used them before. We will use them later on when we get to factoring and quadratics, things like that. But for right now, all you need to know is that algebra tiles are a visual representation of constants and variables. Okay, visual representation of constants and variables. You can probably guess here what these represent since there's just one little square. This equals 1, and the ones that are shaded in, this is your -1. Okay, so if you had a group of 3 of them together, that would be 3. If you had a group of 3 shaded ones, it would be -3. In real life, I guess, if you use these as manipulatives, these are yellow and these are red, which again, I'll show you that whenever I come back. But for right now, as long as you know that white is positive, shaded is negative, you're good to go. The next one you have is this long stick looking piece. The reason it has these ones next to it is to show you that you don't know the exact value. So this is going to be your X, okay? Just the white rectangle. That means this shaded one, you can probably guess, is your -X, okay? The last two that you have are the big squares and a big shaded square. If you remember from your exponent rules last year, this is your X, this is your X. So X times X equals X squared. Okay, so this big square right here is X squared, making this one -X squared. You're not gonna have to do anything with them right now other than identify what they represent. Okay, so like these two examples down here. This first one, this big square you have, this is an X squared, this is a -X, this is 1, and this is 1. For me, it helps to label each individual tile. That way I can put it all together and combine my terms as needed. So the expression that this represents would be X squared minus X plus 2. Okay? And then example 2, you have a -1, a -1, and a positive X because it is not shaded. So your expression would be X minus 2. If you want to write it as -2 plus X, that's fine. Typically in algebra though, you're going to see the variable come first because it's of the highest degree. Okay, so there's the first side. I'm going to flip mine over to the other side. The next part is a few vocabulary terms, things like that. A numerical expression. So we're going to be talking about expressions and equations this year. An expression is any combination, I'm going to abbreviate combination, any combo of numbers and variables okay, so this over here, because you have variables and you have numbers, it gives you an expression. It also might be helpful to write down that an expression can have an addition symbol, a subtraction symbol, division, or multiplication. It can also have grouping symbols. These grouping symbols, remember that's like your parentheses, your absolute value bars, brackets, etc. All those things that tell you which set to do first. Okay? So any combination of numbers and variables, you can have all of your signs there, you can have parentheses. To evaluate an expression, so you're not solving an expression, you're evaluating it. This means to find the number the expression represents. So on your homework tonight, you're not solving, you are evaluating. That's what that means. Finding what does it represent when you simplify it down as much as possible. Okay? And the last definition, something you've seen since probably 3rd or 4th grade, is order of operations. I'm going to start with G for grouping symbols. You may know it with P for PEMDAS, but I like to put the G there for grouping symbols just as a reminder that that could be all different things, your parentheses, absolute value bars, different brackets. Remember, you're going to start with the innermost set first, okay? After your grouping symbols, you have your exponents. That one's pretty self-explanatory. And then you have multiplication and division. What's important to remember here is with multiplication and division, it is whichever is first from left to right. Remember, your commutative property says you can change them around, but if you have other operations like multiplication or division or whatever, to determine which one is first, go from left to right. That's the same thing with addition and subtraction. It is whichever is first, left to right. I apologize that I keep shifting my paper. It's a struggle of a lefty. Okay, so you've got your numerical expressions, evaluate, and order of operations. So what we're going to do now is just go through some of these examples. I'm going to give you a couple of pointers and then you will be able to work on your homework. So starting here with question 3, what's going to come first? You have subtraction, multiplication, and division. So I would say underline maybe what you're working with first. Take these one step at a time. You are not going to get a calculator on this portion for your test because I want you to understand the process. That's what algebra is all about. Oh, you hear my dog barking. I'm sorry about that. So this becomes 15 minus 42 divided by 6. He just wanted to say hi. Okay, and then again we have our division here. So this would be 15 minus 7, leaving your final answer as 8. Okay. When you come over here to this fraction, my suggestion would be simplify what's in your numerator first, and then simplify what's in the denominator, and then reduce your fraction if you can there. So we have 2 times 7 would be 14 plus 15 over 30 minus 29, which is 1, which that would give you 29 over 1. And we know anything over 1 is just that number. Okay, so that was 29. Let's see, moving on to question 5, we're going to start with exponents. So this would be 9 times 10 minus 36 divided by 12. And again, you want to go with what comes first, left to right. So this would be 90 minus 36 divided by 12. We're going to divide here. You have 90 minus 3, which is 87. Okay. Question 6. Let's see. So I'm going to start with my parentheses first. Minus 6 on the outside. Whoops. Times 6. Okay. And then I have 16 divided by 4 times 3 squared minus 36. Now I'm going to go, let's see, I did parentheses, I'm going to go to exponents. So 16 divided by 4 times 9 minus 36. Division is going to come first, left to right, so this would be 4 times 9 minus 36. 9 times 4 is 36. So 36 minus 36, this one would be 0. Okay. If at any time this is going too quickly, remember it is on my webpage. You can always ask Miss Flint to pause it, all that good stuff. Okay, let's see. I'm going to go to number 8. And all I see is multiplication, addition, subtraction. So I'm going to start with multiplication. This would be 14 plus 5 minus 3 plus 30 plus 3. And now that we have all addition and subtraction, you can use your commutative property, move them around. But I'm just going to go left to right. So 19 minus 3 plus 33. So do my addition first here. And then I'm going to say 19 plus 30. So this would be 49. And again, there's multiple ways you can do this. If it made sense to group other numbers first accordingly, do so. Not a big deal. Just make sure you are showing your steps. On your homework tonight, you will not get credit if you do not have work shown. Okay? All right. The last one, number 9. Again, let's talk about the multiple sets of parentheses. So what I'm going to do first, I'm going to start at the innermost set. So this becomes, let's see, 4 squared divided by 16 this way. Oh, plus 5. Okay, and then this becomes 20 minus 16 divided by 16 plus 5. This would be 20 minus 1 plus 5. And then, let's see, so 20 minus 1 would be 19. 19 plus 5 would give us 24. And then we have 24 over, let's see, this would give you 16 minus 13 would be 3, which would equal 8. Okay? So now, once you have all of that written down, again, if you need a little more time, no worries. Now that you have that written down, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this in half, maybe. Okay? And then I'm going to glue it down in my notebook. So here's my properties foldables, and here is the next page. So glue one on the left, one on the right, and then you can get started on your homework. Remember, you do have to have work shown tonight. If you don't have work shown when you come in tomorrow, you will not get credit, okay? Order of operations is really easy, but you guys tend to rush through it, so take your time. There's not that many questions on there, and it should be an easy grade for you, okay? All right, remember, if you have any questions, reach out to me on Remind, or you can go see any of the math teachers available. There's one every morning. I'm pretty sure tutorials are starting this week. So I will catch up with you soon. Otherwise, make it a great day, guys.